Good morning and welcome to Our Stories. Our guest presenter this morning is Marie Thompson. And for those of you who know Marie, you know that she was a music teacher in the public schools here for quite a number of years. And she's having class this morning and has invited us to join her in her classroom. But we don't want to be late, so let's get started right now. Follow me.
Hello, everybody. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Hello, everybody. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, my darling. And that's how I begin. For years and years, a music class for children. My name is Marie Thompson. I was born October the 11th, 1943, to Henry and Rosetta Buttle, second of 6 children. We lived on a dairy farm in northern Illinois. Our address was Edwardsville Road. Edwardsville Road runs parallel to Route 20 between Rockford and Freeport, Illinois. Growing up on a dairy farm was a wonderful life. We were involved in every aspect of working, feeding chickens, gathering eggs, carrying milk, and consequently, I think we all grew up with a very good work ethic. And we also had a lot of fun. My father loved music. In fact, we had square dances on the farm. And I talked today to my older brother, who remembers that one of our square dances involved building a staircase to the second floor of a shed connected with our barn, so that the dancers, the square dance, actually took place in the barn in the hayloft. Because of my family's involvement in the farm life, and because my father loved music, when I was 8 years old, my father bought a Stein piano from a doctor in Freeport. He also bought an accordion. My older brother, Donald, studied accordion, and at the age of 8, my father did some research to find a qualified teacher in Freeport, and my piano teacher, whose name was Mildred Burgess, had studied at the Conservatory of Music in Chicago. And that was the beginning of a whole new life for me. When I first heard her play this, I knew that there was something about the piano that I wanted to know more about. And so I learned to play Beethoven's Feuerlied when I was in 4th grade. About my education, as it turns out, when I was young, there were one-room schoolhouses, and for the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, I attended a one-room schoolhouse and was with grades 1 through 8th with one teacher. In 4th grade, my father paid tuition that those of us that were in school would go to another town, and that led to a group of parents whose children were all at various one-room schoolhouses around German Valley to build a beautiful school. My father was on the school board, and we all went to German Valley Elementary School. By the time I was in 7th grade. 7th and 8th grade was in German Valley. Then in high school, we drove 12 miles to a town, Forreston. And by that time, in addition to playing piano, I was playing clarinet in band. And going to Forreston was like going it was going to another school district. And so we met, my classmates and we met kids and made new friends every day. We either took the school bus to the high school, or by that time, many of us were already driving. I accompanied the choir and played clarinet in band. At some point, my piano teacher, Mildred Burgess in Freeport, thought that I played well enough and understood enough about music that I might give piano lessons in German Valley. And so at the age of 15, she mentored me, and I started a group of piano students. First, they'd come to the farm for lessons, and then my father decided that sometimes parents forgot to pick up their kids. So German Valley was a wonderful little community of about 400 population. We had our own creamery, blacksmith shop, hardware shop, 2 grocery stores, tavern, funeral home, and my father made an arrangement with the funeral director that I would give piano lessons at the funeral home. If there was a funeral, then I would teach at home. So my students started coming to the funeral home, and I gave lessons there, which was kind of interesting. Then, as high school went on, our high school was very involved in music. Our band had probably 70 members. And back in those days, families would go to all school events. If there was a basketball game, relatives came, not just parents. And the band had a pep band, and we played and we cheered the basketball players and so on. And so a lot of us had a lot of experience in music. Also in high school, I studying organ in Freeport with the organist from the First Presbyterian Church in Freeport. And that led to me starting to be involved in the church that I grew up in. This is a picture of Silver Creek Reformed Church in German Valley. I would play for Sunday school, I would play for the choir, and back in those days we had a Sunday evening service at which time I would play the organ. And all of these events, so to speak, opportunities, were wonderful experiences to grow musically because you had to be prepared. My piano teacher knew about Milliken. And as it turns out, our solo and ensemble state contest was at Milliken. And at that contest, I met Elizabeth Travis, who was then chairman of the piano department. And I ended up auditioning to be a student at Milliken. And I had heard a lot about Miss Travis and thought that that would be a great opportunity to advance my skills. So in the fall of 1961, I came to Decatur. My parents, dairy farmers, it was a quick, fast trip on Route 51, 2 lanes going through every conceivable town. But we did it, and for actually 5 years I studied at Milliken. I studied piano with Miss Travis, organ with Kenneth LaRoe as my minor, and also took classes in music education. I was fortunate to be able to give 2 senior recitals, senior and then my 5th year, because At that time, Milliken had a graduate program. As many women, young women my age, after graduating from Milliken, I got married. And that led to a whole new career, so to speak. My husband decided that he should go to graduate school, so we moved to Champaign, and it was there that I studied music education and did student teaching. Eventually, after his graduation, we moved to Springfield, and I not only taught music, I also got involved in teaching classroom, and that was very exciting. I taught, one year we lived in Champaign, and then I taught in Mount Pulaski, which was 60 miles away, and I had lots of different experiences in different communities. That included living in Phoenix, Arizona and teaching. And then my son and I came back, and I eventually went to visit Alton, Illinois, and I taught there for 2 years. It was not until 1974 that my son and I moved back to Decatur, where I had lived as a student. And through the years, I also studied more piano at the University of Illinois, and I got my master's degree in education administration, which led then for opportunities to not only teach, but then in later years after I retired in 2004, substitute in fields of administration at various elementary and Eisenhower High School. As far as church work, in Decatur, I played when I was a student at Milliken, at First Baptist Church, Bethlehem Presbyterian Church. For 20 years, I also played at Unity Church of Decatur, Woodland Chapel, and then one year, must have been in the late 90s, Kathleen Bell was the director of the choir here at First Pres, and she asked me if I'd consider applying for a position at First Pres as organist, and I did, and that led to a very wonderful career here at First Pres. During that time, Suzanne Vargo was an associate minister, and Suzanne had interest in a type of worship called Taizé, which comes from Taizé, France. I spoke to her just today, and she told me that our first service for Taizé here at First Pres was in March of 2001. And I have continued to be involved volunteering with other people for the Taizé service, and feel that it's a wonderful opportunity for people once a month to gather in a meditative format with singing and readings. And that has been a very positive experience for me. One of the questions that I was asked was memories. And at this age, I would like to say that every day is a memory, a memorial, a memorable experience to be alive and experience everything that we can. And so I thank you for this opportunity to share my life with you.
Well, Rosemarie, thank you so much for inviting us into your classroom today. It was enjoyable and something that we are really proud to have you share with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this is how I would end music class. This is a spiritual that involves motion and singing. All night, all day, angels watching over me, my Lord. All